Hi, Mark here. Going to do a bit more to this fantasy art picture. Now, I'm going to work on the crow a bit more. Really just to have a change from doing the dragon, which I think is coming along really nicely. And of course, Queen Mab's looking quite cool. And just trying to get this beak on his crow right. But they're all pretty much different. Got their little because we got some crows that actually nested in an oak tree across the road, and they've been there for years. Probably not the same crows, but I mean it's the perfect tree. And because years ago there's a playing field beyond the houses across the road into the school grounds. Because a lot of the big trees from when I was a child going to the school gone. But there was a rookery at one point, and they cleared that. For some reason, I think the residents complained of noise, because I don't know if you've ever lived near a rookery, but especially in the spring, things get a bit noisy. But I've always had a thing for these birds, the crow family, the rooks, the ravens, and the jackdaws. When I was at college, we actually had a jackdaw for a little while that was injured, and we nursed it back to health. Well, in the I think I've told you this story before, probably on another video, but it's worth repeating. When I was at college, we actually, our dormitory was in an old manor house, and of course, when it was a manor house and the lord of the manor lived there, they obviously, when they built it, they built a church, which was they did in those days, right next, in actual fact, to the mansion house. And of course, for I think it was for probably 2 years that I was there, my dormitory was on the corner nearest to this church, which is a beautiful setting, but every 15 minutes the clock chimed. Yeah, through the night as well. So that was kind of strange, because I mean, getting used to that, I mean, in the end you just slept through it and ignored it. But the funny thing was, when I actually left college and came back home, I couldn't sleep because I couldn't hear it. Crazy. Anyway, I'm digressing. Anyway, I was very friendly with a guy called Dave Carter, who actually was very much into birds and bird watching and what have you. And we actually were talking to the old guy, the vicar, one day, and he was telling us that in the roof of the church was a huge nest of jackdaws, because they actually do nest in groups, and it can get quite big. And we went up there to have a look, and the noise was unbelievable. Of course, jackdaws are quite intelligent. Now, most people know minor birds talk, but you can actually train jackdaws, and I would imagine you could probably do the same thing with crows and rooks even, I don't know. But I know you can with jackdaws, and you can with minor birds, because I used to go into a town called Farnham when I was at college, and we used to drink quite often at lunchtime at a pub called the Marlborough Head, and they actually had a minor bird behind the bar. And the language was unbelievable. It was really funny, the swearing that went on. And because, if you actually swore in the pub, you'd be thrown out. But of course, this Jackdaw, I think they sort of tend to pick up on the tone of people's voices. These, budgies and minor birds and parrots and things. That's why they tend to pick up on the words you don't actually want them to necessarily repeat. I mean, I did hear a funny story of a chap who got divorced from his wife, and she had custody of their parrot, and after 6 months she decided she was going to let him have the parrot, which she did. But during that 6 months, she'd actually taught this parrot the most amazing language to describe him and criticize him and run him down. And so he ended up with this parrot that just insulted him constantly, which is kind of funny. I don't know if that's true. It might not be. I don't know. I'd like to think it was. But anyway, back to the crow. Now, you look at it and you think, oh, that's just black. But it isn't, in actual fact. If you see the light hit, the sun hit any of our large blackbirds, they're actually, it's like a very, very dark blue. And if the sun hits it just right, you can see greens and various shades of blue, almost like an aubergine. But which is what I'm doing on this wing, this right wing now. It's just putting some of that, and it's going to get predominantly covered over with the black, but it would just show through enough to give you that hint. And depending on how it looks, I should probably add some white highlights to that, like I've just done to the eye, to give that sort of to give the light source and bring it to life, really. Of course, this is an abstract picture, so you've got some sort of poetic license to where you're going to put things, and exactly how you're going to draw them. But yeah, it's kind of good fun thing to do. But like I said, I think this is at the moment about 5th or 6th in a series of pictures I've been doing in this sort of, I think they call it fantasy art. And this really is in the sort of style of the sort of 70s kind of poster type illustrations they used to do, that Athena used to sell as posters. But who knows, I might do it. I might publish them all in a book one day. Be nice, wouldn't it? So this is coming along nicely. Now this is kind of a goblin, sort of elf type character we're putting in now, because Queen Mab had various subjects she ruled over, and they were goblins and elves. And because, as I understand it, she was a bit of a sort of, I don't know what the word would be, nemesis, enemy of Merlin, who I think she possibly had something to do with in the early stages of his life. But she found she couldn't control him like she was hoping to. And that was that, really. So, interesting stories around in King Arthur. I have actually, because I've been doing this, been watching the BBC Merlin series, but not terribly keen, I suppose. But I tend to like using my own imagination on these things to give my interpretation of the story. Anyway, that's about it for part 2. I hope you've enjoyed it so far, and I'm going to keep going with this picture, so there'll probably be sort of more and more. Okay, well, take care. Hope you subscribe, and I'll see you soon.